Have you ever stayed somewhere that felt like it was built specifically to pamper you, where the entire goal is for you to stop thinking and just be taken care of? Well, that was Namale Resort and Spa for us. As part of our honeymoon, we spent 6 incredible days at this adults-only, all-inclusive resort in Fiji that's consistently ranked as the #1 resort in the country. And it delivered the kind of privacy, service, and princess treatment that's honestly hard to put into words. In this episode, we're breaking down what the experience is actually like, the villas, the food and drinks, the spa and hydrotherapy, the activities, and the Fijian hospitality that makes you feel like family. We'll share what surprised us, what stood out, and who we genuinely think this resort is perfect for. So enjoy part 2 of our honeymoon series. After this, we'll be diving back into some incredible interviews and points and miles conversations that you won't want to miss. And then we'll wrap up with the rest of the honeymoon series to close it out. Welcome to the Revolutionizing Your Journey podcast. I am your host, DeAndre Koch, and here with my beautiful wife and co-host, Taryn Gisbert. Before we get into this week's episode, we want to give our usual reminders. You can find all of our episodes in their full entirety on our YouTube channel. And for those who only watch us on YouTube, remember, you can find the audio-only quick hits. That's our up-to-date news in the world of points and miles and travel every single Friday, but that's only on the audio-only version. So think Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., etc. And we do have our Boldly Go Travels vlog-style channel as well. And wherever you're watching this, don't forget to leave a like, a rating, subscribe, leave a review, and do all of those things as well.
So welcome to part 2 of our 4-part honeymoon series. I know it's a lot, but I promise we have really great things coming. So last week we took you through the start of our trip, including flying the world's longest flight, exploring Hong Kong, and our first few days in Fiji. This week we are going to focus the whole episode on the 6 incredible days that we spent at Namale Resort and Spa, an adults-only all-inclusive resort in Fiji that's consistently ranked as the #1 resort in the entire country of Fiji. And it's actually only the only true adults-only all-inclusive property that exists, which we're going to talk more about, and how that ended up being one of the most memorable parts of our entire honeymoon. So we really truly lived at the resort, experiencing everything from the food and the spa to the activities, the service, and what it actually feels like to receive the best of Fijian hospitality. We do want to be fully transparent. This stay was hosted as part of a sponsored collaboration with Namale, but because this was our honeymoon, we went into it with incredibly high expectations and selection. And in this episode, we are sharing our honest experience because, what surprised us, what stood out, and what we genuinely think this resort is perfect for, and who it might be for. And as always, our thoughts are 100% our own. So, if you're planning a honeymoon, an anniversary, or a once-in-a-lifetime couple's getaway, you are going to want to put this on your list or save this episode.
Absolutely, Taryn. I mean, Namale was absolutely incredible. It was fantastic. And I want to point out as well, obviously a lot of the things that we do and talk about on the show are points-related stays, typically at some sort of Hyatt or Hilton or IHG type property. But this is not a point stay at all. You likely could book them through a travel portal or something like that, but they are a very boutique, private resort, and that made for an incredible experience as well. So we got to kind of put some context around this, Taryn, as to how did we even find, and when I say we, that's a communal we because it was mostly you.
So you want me to talk about my spreadsheet?
Yes. How did you come to find Namale Resort? Again, this is one of the times that we're going to use the we that comes up, but the we in this type means you.
I know what the we means. I think you just need to learn what the we mean. Now we are married. The we is the royal we. It's us. So when I was doing research on going to Fiji, which has always been a dream destination in general, as well as especially for our honeymoon, I wanted to do the research because we do travel content, because we, are not just honeymooning this one time and doing this one big trip. I did months of research and I made a spreadsheet and I was looking for adults only, all inclusive, and what else do they have to offer? Because there's a lot happening in Fiji. And what I found is that of all of the places, there are some spectacular properties all over Fiji. But the one that stood out the most to me was Namale. And I'm not going to lie, I wanted to work with them. I wanted to I wanted to go there for our honeymoon. And I wanted to be able to promote them because I feel like what they offer is so unique. For one, they are the only completely all-inclusive adults only in Fiji. I know because I have a spreadsheet. I looked it up. A lot of resorts say that they are completely all-inclusive, but they'll cover breakfast or breakfast and lunch, but not dinner. Or they'll cover breakfast, lunch, dinner, and drinks, but not alcohol. So it's not fully all-inclusive. And maybe this is just like an American problem because we love all-inclusives here. Or, I guess America in general, not just North America. But what they offered was way more. And then the more I looked into it, the more I saw how much special things that they do that make this like a really special experience. And I'm not going to lie, this is where I wanted to go from the start.
And yeah, this is, to put it to scale or size, this is very, very different from what you would typically expect of any sort of hotel, especially, tropical destination. It's not a big singular building like you'll find in the Cancuns or Tulums of the world. It's not kind of a bunch of huts spread out over an island like in the Maldives. It's very unique from a property standpoint, but even from the exclusivity and the size, because when we went and checked in, and we're going to talk through our arrival and all those different things, but the day that we checked in, they had 16 guests total, so essentially 8 couples total the day that we checked in, and I think it peaked at around 28 or 30, and this is over New Year's, mind you, and I believe they have capacity for about 42-ish in that area.
Yeah, like 45 max, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So think through the resorts you've stayed at where they can easily fit 1,000 people, hundreds of rooms. This is very, very different, but that also lent to a level of service that I don't think we've ever experienced anywhere else.
I was going to say, we love a Secrets, but we don't have a 4-to-1 staff ratio at a Secrets, right? So I feel like what they offered was really special, very unique, and it had everything that I was looking for, and I'm going to say we, because now we're married and I can do that, right? The royal we. And this is what we were looking for in Fiji and what we wanted. We knew we wanted no children. No offense to children or to your children if you're listening. However, this is just, not really honeymoon vibes. And we wanted quiet, intentional, intimate, and I'll be honest, I wanted princess treatment. And I'm not going to lie to you, I don't think I've ever felt as much princess treatment as I have staying at Namale, because I think it was the most pampered I've felt in my life. And if any of you who know me, I've had a couple of pampered things. I have not lived a completely pampered life. However, I know what pampering feels like, and I don't think anybody has ever done it better, in my opinion. So this was a really exceptional place.
It absolutely was. I think it was fantastic from a lot of fronts. And so let's start unpacking a little bit more of the experience, right? Because it all started, from the moment that we arrived. So from an arrival standpoint, Namale is not on the main Fiji island, which is where you fly into, where the international airport is, which is known as Nandi. Now, what we did is, coming from our other resort, we went to Nandi airport and flew to Sabu Sabu, which is the airport that's about less than 10 minutes away from Namale itself. It was only an hour flight. It was super beautiful, but just so that you're aware, you're on a very, very small plane. And when I say small, this plane has about 11 seats on it. You can't basically bring anything bigger than a backpack on board. They'll put everything else in your check bag, and they have to weigh you with your carry-on. That's how small the plane is. Thankfully, we landed. They had a guy use his hand to pull all the luggage off and pull the hand cart right to the terminal. I say terminal, it's basically an outdoor set of bleachers, basically.
Yeah, it's like a gated area. It's not even really like a conveyor or anything.
Exactly. I think that actually takes the cake as the smallest airport that we've commercially flown into for like a one world operated flight. Very unique experience. But the moment that we landed, you kind of walk off the plane, takes you 2 minutes to get off the plane, and we were immediately greeted there by Donna, who was there to greet us and take us to the resort.
Oh my gosh, I miss Donna. Donna was so fantastic. She welcomed us. They had snacks, cookies, cold, refreshing towels, everything that you could want when you're getting off of a plane. And more was taken care of. I mean, everything was taken care of, and it was not a long, trip to get to the resort from there once we got on. What were your thoughts?
No, it was fantastic. I mean, they were there. Of course, I was wanting to help with the luggage, and they were like, no, it's okay. Don't touch anything. I was like, no, I'm still going to help. We've got a lot of stuff. But they were, that kind of don't lift a finger mentality from the get-go. And as you said, it was definitely less than 10 minutes to the front gate. And immediately you get there, they're giving us a little bit of an overview, the island, activities, those type of things. And then it's right to reception where you check in, and when you arrive, there's a little bit of let's call it a song and dance type experience.
Hey, we don't want to ruin all of the special secret things. And that's one thing I want to make sure we don't do, is that we don't ruin every little special secret. And that's one of the coolest things I think about this property, is that they had so many special things that I promise you, this is going to be something you remember for the rest of your life. But they did have a very warm welcome. It was incredible. You felt like family already. And this is going to be a common theme. I promise you I'm going to mention this again. But it felt very special to you and your situation and why you're there and who you are. And we've been to a lot of places. We say a lot of places have great service and they're very welcoming. I think this was a completely another level, another universe when we look at it compared to where we've been.
You're right. There's a lot of different experiences that we had. But we have to talk about, from the get-go, how impressed we were with our villa. Because there was a number of options to stay, different types and size of properties. We decided to go with the villa. And we had the villa that was called the Pearl, or they call it Thiva. And, I mean, it just went on forever as we were walking through it, which I don't know if you've seen that. If you follow us, you've seen our reels or our Instagram stories, but this place was absolutely insane.
It was incredible. I mean, the pool that we had just for us rivaled what I have seen in a lot of very high-end resorts we have stayed at. It is larger, and it was just for us. But because we had a little bit of a behind-the-scenes peek, we did get to see a lot of the other rooms, and they have a lot to offer depending on what you're looking for. So it doesn't have to be the highest-end villa, because there's only 4 villas, and then there's the dream house, and then, then there's the beach villas and the honeymoon ones, as well as the garden villas. So, I mean, there's like a whole range of options, but I have to say, I felt like we were on our own island with our own mansion, and we had everything that we could need.
Yeah, so to give you a little bit of an idea, with the villa itself, of course, I'm going to try to explain this, but you're going to want to catch all of our videos and our YouTube videos.
You got to see it. Yeah, we cannot give it justice. You got to look.
Absolutely. Massive, massive pool, as Taryn said. Inside, living room, suite. I mean, it was large in one area. Bathroom that had indoor jacuzzi. We had indoor shower, outdoor shower, and then on the other side of the villa, there was a whole other dining room area that had its refrigerator and other things, and that had its own outdoor bathroom and shower as well. I mean, and it's a very different type of outdoor shower. It was really a shower that felt like it was in the jungle, which was really, really cool. And all of this is on a kind of a cliff. You're actually high up above the water, and it just makes for a really, really beautiful, incredible kind of scenic view.
It felt like we were the only people anywhere nearby honestly. And that privacy factor was, I mean, for a honeymoon, it was spot on. That's what I wanted. I wanted us to feel like we had that privacy. And I think that's one of the things that Namale does best. So imagine, not just is it private and it just feels like it's just you and whoever you decided to treat to go to Namale with you, but it's just ocean, nature, beautiful. There are beautiful reefs. They have so many other gorgeous things that are happening that you can see. They have gorgeous gardens and the hibiscus flowers. Some of the colors I have never seen in my life before until I was there. It had so many unique things that just made it feel different. And that's before we even get into the service, because I promise you, service is going to be something I got a lot to say about because it was fantastic.
And, really the experience was luxury and at the same time unique because it still embraced the Fijian culture in a lot of different ways. And there were different elements on the property, different things that they have that you can see on their website and their pictures and the videos that we're going to be sharing and that we've shared as well. But different observational lookouts, like they've got what they call a blowhole deck where the water from the ocean essentially hits a coral foundation and actually spouts up almost like a geyser. They've got their lover's deck, which is a heart-shaped jacuzzi that overlooks the water and the sunset. They've got so many different unique areas that really make it so that you always have something to do and you can very easily get away and not see anybody else because it's not so crowded.
It was so private. And I think that's why they have the 4-to-1. And I feel like for us, we had probably like a 6-to-1, at least when we checked in. By New Year's, it was definitely more, it was full capacity. But having that kind of service and attention, it just felt like a whole nother level of luxury.
It did. Look, we should talk about the room service and how it was really different. Because I know when we've stayed at Secrets or Breathless or different properties, usually it's hard to get cocktails or bottles of champagne added to the room without having to pay for the full cost of a bottle. There, whether it was an excursion or whether you wanted to have something delivered to some other part of the resort, there was not a thought of an additional charge when it comes to your drinks and your food and all those different things.
Yeah, I mean, this is a place that is through and through luxury. You could get, when you order room service, whether it's a burger or it is a lobster pasta that I definitely did order at room service, you can get Moet and Shandon to your room in a bottle, in, everything you need with fresh glasses. It was the epitome of luxury because that is not something I have ever seen. And I have stayed at a lot of all-inclusives that are not just chains. They are not just Secrets. None of them have ever provided that kind of level of detail. And frankly, we also were able to ask, like, hey, we would like a carafe of rum punch. Done. Like, it was not limited. There actually is, the limit does not exist. And I feel like that is the thing about Namale that makes it so special, is because it has so many things that make you feel like the pampered princess that you are, or prince. I don't know who's listening, but I'm going to tell you, you're going to feel very, very good after being here. And it's going to be really hard to go somewhere else because they are setting the bar very high. Namale had some of the best food, actually the best food I've ever had at an all-inclusive resort in my entire life. By far. Not even close. Honestly, like there's nothing has ever come close. The food was fresh. The meat was fresh. The vegetables were organically, from the farm. So I have to say, and the chefs, they brought everything into it. They brought the West, they brought the East. They had a lot of incorporations as well as staying very, very local. And I think that's the most important piece, is that they stayed to what is local, what is fresh, what is in season, and they make it work. And it's some of the best food I've had in my entire life.
Yeah, they had a lot of kind of unique offerings. I know you ended up getting the lobster pie, which I don't think we've seen before.
Yes, that was so good.
A lot of different lobsters. And in fact, we could see them at night and during the day, like actually out in the water in the tide pools, catching fresh food. They have, as you mentioned, they have an organic garden right on property. They actually have a couple of them as well.
4. Yeah.
4 gardens, and so the freshness of the food can't be understated, and the way they had the ability to deliver food basically anywhere you wanted as well. So think room service. However, room service, they could deliver to you on the beach if you're using one of their activities, like in their jungle golf course or their pickleball course or whatever it may be. They would bring you food there. It was so fresh. It was fantastic. Even if you had an excursion, like you were going to go out snorkeling or diving, they could pack something to bring for the boat for you. I mean, it was really amazing the way they were able to put everything together. But I would agree with you. The food was absolutely fantastic. A lot of things that I tried that I'd never had before. The seasoning, the spice. I mean, it was fantastic.
Absolutely. And, for an excursion, obviously it is a more limited menu because you cannot have surf and turf, on a boat trip. It's possible, maybe, but probably not done well. So I think they know exactly how to deliver the best quality of everything. And I think that's why they're so good at what they do.
I would agree with you. And so they really did it well to create experiences for you to dine in luxury as a couple, which is why I really think this is a fantastic place to have an anniversary, to have a honeymoon, because I think they really said, hey, look, we're going to make sure the couple experience here is really, really high. So we got to talk a little bit about what the resort offers beyond just great food, great drinks, great room service, because there's a lot of activities as well on property and things that are really unique that you don't typically find. I mentioned they have a pickleball court, which is in their basketball gym, so it's an indoor pickleball court. They've got, of course, a pool, the kayaking, paddleboarding, things like that, but they also have a 9-hole par 3 jungle golf course out in part of their property. They've got an area called the Kava Bowl, which there's some significance to that name, but it's also uniquely the only indoor bowling alley in the entire country of Fiji. There are 2 lanes there, and they have to bring in someone that's basically trained in the Americas how to maintain it and keep it going because it's so unique to the country itself. There's indoor golf simulator. They have a state-of-the-art golf simulator, pool table, arcade, all sorts of really interesting things to have on a resort that are indoors, including 2 movie rooms as well in case you want to snuggle up, have some popcorn, because they have a popcorn machine or popcorn maker, I should say. And it's great if you're like, hey, I'm getting a little bit sunburned and or it's raining and pouring outside and I want to do something different. They have it there.
I just want to add that, yes, only place if you're a bowler that you can bowl in Fiji, basically, privately. And on top of that, almost everything that we just talked about is 24 hours. Pickleball court, 24 hours. Air conditioned. Everything you need. You can do this at any time. There are no children. There are no chaperones because you don't need them. You can just go play the sports you want. Go play some hoops, right? Same thing. All of the rules were the same. And the gym was state of the art. I don't think we've talked about the gym yet. Obviously, I am not as much of a partaker in that as you are, my love. But it is one of the nicest gyms that I've seen. And, if I was gonna try, it would be the place.
Yeah, and as you said, I mean, if you can't sleep and you want to go hit golf balls or play 9 holes virtually in this case in their golf simulator at 3 a.m, you absolutely can. So really unique offering there. They even have like a challenge course on the property that I saw where you get logs that you can kind of climb over and run through. So just a lot of different unique offerings that you would expect to see on a property or a resort. But basically there's something there for everybody.
Honestly, I feel like I could have stayed there for an entire month and I would have never gotten bored between the excursions, the spa, the sports activities, the ocean activities, which I am more of a fan of, but still, looking at all of it, I could be there more than a month and I would never be bored. And I don't think I've ever been to an all-inclusive that I've felt like that about before. Have you?
I think there's plenty of places like, I could stay here longer, but for that long and not be bored, I think you're right, because of the uniqueness and this quality and the service and the connection as well to the Fijian culture, because it's really, they make you feel like family, which I think is amazing. Like, you know, they're there with you, you're there with them, and it's an incredible experience, an incredible feeling.
Okay, and what I mean by I could stay here for a month and never get bored, I mean, let me tell you, there are so many things going on in terms of excursions. We did not even scratch the surface in terms of everything they had to offer. But one of them that was really cool was the Salt River Float, which was very relaxing. And you just kind of floated. There was a great current. And then it had like what was it? The natural warm.
Yeah, it was like it leads you into like this basin, almost like a lake, and there's like natural hot springs underneath. So like you would get pockets of like warm water as you were floating. It wasn't cold water and it wasn't super hot, but it was like these really nice pockets of like geothermal vented water, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really relaxing. It was a really nice excursion. And I mean, we also were chasing waterfalls, were we not? I mean, and Namale has quite a few.
Yeah, they've got one on property as well as they have one that you can do as like an excursion where they bus you to it. And I think the ride was maybe 45 minutes or so out there, a little bit of a short hike. It was like a 15-minute trek almost. It wasn't anything, you know, super difficult or anything like that. But then you get to a much larger waterfall that you actually can jump into the water hole. You can get right under the waterfall. It's super refreshing. Definitely recommend.
It's loud.
Yeah, it's loud. It's loud. Definitely recommend having water shoes, which if you don't have them, they'll let you use their booties that they use for snorkeling and diving. And it's really super, super refreshing. And they kind of brought up picnic items for us as well while we were there. So we had some food and drinks. It was a really cool kind of excursion kind of atmosphere.
Yeah, and then there's the waterfall on site too. Not quite as large, but a really cool, like intimate, lunch. We did the lunch where we got to go there. We had our gorgeous coconuts, which, I needed those electrolytes. I love it. They were so good. Those coconuts, I think they were your favorite coconuts too. You usually are not always coconut fan, but you were like, these taste different, right?
Yeah, as much as I love the tropics and traveling, obviously coconuts aren't my favorite thing. I like coconut flavored things like coconut shrimp and other things, but actually drinking coconut water has not really been my thing. But these were really, really delicious in a different way. I can't really explain how different it is, especially being someone from, my family's in the Jamaica and the tropics and such, but it was different and it was really good. And that waterfall on property is really, really cool. It's much smaller, but they have a nice intimate setting for you with it, and then you can kind of explore it yourself, which is really nice. So a lot to explore, and it's actually in the area where their jungle golf course is also.
Oh yeah, we passed that too. And there's two of them, because there's the one that you look at, and then there's the one that you can swim in. So it's multiple waterfalls. It's not just like a one waterfall experience.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, there's just so much to do on the property. I think one of the really fun days we had was the snorkeling we did out at the sandbar, which I know ended with a magical occasion for you, which I won't spoil, let you share what happened with that.
Yeah, I loved that snorkeling day. It was fun. It was beautiful water. And at the end, we had dolphins who just decided to just lead the way in front of the boat. And they were just dancing in front of us. And I love dolphins. We see dolphins at home. These are different kinds of dolphins. These are spinner dolphins. So I actually have not been this close to them, but I have to say it is always magical when I see dolphins, and I don't think that's ever going to change every single time. Just like a sea turtle. Every time I see a sea turtle, it's magic. And these dolphins felt like they were just leading us back to the resort. And there's so many other excursions that we did not even have time to do. I mean, you can do scuba from the scuba station. I mean, they have other boat excursions, and they'll let you know also what's available every night in turn down service, whether or not you choose to have that in the room. They give you this coconut telegraph, and essentially it tells you, hey, this is what's going to happen tomorrow. Here's the events for tonight. If you want to book this excursion, definitely get that on the books. Here's what it cost. Here's the time. So you always knew what was happening, and you knew what was coming up, whether it was something that everybody could go do because you've been in privacy, right? We'd been doing things alone, and we're like, we want to go. What's the group going to do tonight? And sometimes it would be kava. Sometimes it would be ceremonial dance. There was always something going on. And I feel like that is why I could literally spend a month or more, because we still wouldn't even get to everything that they offer.
Yeah, I mean, it was truly fantastic. And if you did reserve something on that Coconut Telegraph, they would put your time slot for that. So you never had to remember what you necessarily had going on, because they had everything kind of for your day planned out, that if you had already planned things out. And like you said, if you wanted to go kayaking or paddleboarding or other things, they would tell you the best time to go with the tide as well, because of the way the tides work.
Sunrise and sunset were on there too, in case you wanted to like be ready to get the good shot, get that photo, get that video, get that time lapse, or just enjoy it and just drink in that beautiful skyline. You knew exactly what time you needed to be where. And I love that, because that's not something that's intuitive, right, for most, and it changes.
Absolutely, absolutely agree, which is why, yes, you could definitely spend a lot of time there and not get to everything, because there is so much to do.
Absolutely. Were we going to talk about the spa before we got to the service?
Well, yeah, absolutely. That was the next move, is talking about the spa, which, I mean, Taryn, you love a good spa, so what'd you think?
Yes, I love a good spa. And they had hydrotherapy that was available without appointments, without massage. You don't have to book anything. You could just enjoy the hydrotherapy as long as the spa is open, which is actually longer than most spas, to be fair. It's not 24 hours, but it's the closest I think you'll ever get to that. And frankly, I mean, they had like a waterfall, like shoulder massage. They had multiple different pools where you could change the temperature. You could add aromatics. And the massage that we had was very unique. And I think I'm going to butcher the name right now.
So, yeah, the massage, that was called the Bombo massage. And it was the traditional, they walk on you. Absolutely amazing.
Essentially, it is where you have people holding on to a bamboo stick above you and walking on your back. And I loved it. And it was actually one of the most incredible things that we did.
It was, yeah. We had two guys. They were fantastic. As you said, giant pole over both of us, kind of horizontally. And then each of them, they were doing things that with your eyes closed, you're like, oh, this is someone, they're using their hands for this. But no, you're like laying on the floor and they're using their feet in this really traditional way that they were both trained in. And it made for a really unique and different experience if you've never had it before.
I loved it, and I thought that my Fijian masseuse was probably more talented with his feet than most masseuses I've had with their hands, just based on my experience. It was incredible. I feel like there were so many additional things that are included in this that make it even more over the top, make it even better, and make it like a better experience, because we've gone to a lot of all-inclusives and they don't include a lot of the things we've talked about. And we're going to talk about more, obviously. But I feel like that's the special thing about Namale, is that they are literally curating a special moment for you. And I think they absolutely delivered on that. And I don't think I've ever been somewhere that I could actually say they curated and delivered on a special moment.
I would agree with you. And one thing to point out is that you had said that you don't need to have a massage to use the hydrotherapy. So that means that literally you could go and use the hydrotherapy every single day if you wanted to really just stay relaxed and refreshed your entire stay, which is unique. And I thought was a huge value add as well, because that led right into the quality of the overall service experience. And I think this is where, of course, we've been talking about a lot of great things and how they do things very well. But I think the service is second to none in probably any place I think we've ever stayed. And we've stayed some pretty incredible places in different countries. But what do you think, Taryn?
Couldn't agree more. I don't feel like I've ever been anywhere in my entire life that I have felt so known. They would know our names, right? Every time we would walk into a room or walk past like a front desk, they'd be like, Bula, Taryn, DeAndre. They would ask us how our day was going, and they meant it. This wasn't for tips. This is because they're authentically, this is the culture. And it made you feel really special, very heard, very seen. And especially for those of you who join in for Points and Miles, in a Points and Miles world, you can feel kind of not seen, right? You get the perks, but you're not really seen.
Depending on your status in the property, yeah.
Even with the status, honestly, I'm just saying, I felt like this has been like nothing I've ever experienced in my entire life in terms of how much they knew you, they cared, they showed they cared. And every time you saw someone, we said it was like, bula, like, yes. And it was welcome. It was hello. It was how are you? It was I care about you. How are you doing today? There was so much more that came from it. And this is not something you can fake, at least not with me. I'm a New Yorker and I can read BS a mile away. This was authentic. And I've never felt so cared for and so much consideration from staff from anywhere I've ever been.
Hey everyone, quick break from the episode. If you're enjoying the show, make sure you're subscribed on whatever platform you're listening on so you never miss an episode. And if you've gotten any value so far, it would mean the world if you left a quick rating or review. It helps more people discover the show and keeps us motivated to keep creating great content. Also, if you're feeling stuck or want help with Points and Miles, whether it's picking your first card, planning a big redemption, or even having someone book it all for you, we've got you covered. There's a link in the show notes to schedule a free Points and Miles consultation. Just fill out a quick questionnaire, tell us your goals, and we'll take it from there. And don't forget, our newsletter and private Facebook group are great ways to stay on top of breaking news, updated card offers, and tips that don't always make it into the podcast. You'll find those links in the show notes as well. Now, back to the episode. And that really carried out throughout all the different experiences and events that we had. And as you said, even if you're just walking down the pathway or walking to another building or whatever it may be, and you pass a gardener that's there tending to the bushes, they still had that same reaction, that same energy, which was absolutely incredible across the board. So we really felt like while we were there, that we were just, again, one with them and part of the culture, which is really unique because one of the things they do there, and I mentioned that the bowling alley is called the Kava Bowl. Well, there's some significance to what kava is, how entwined it is in the Fijian culture, and the way that Namale really sets up the explanation of how entrenched it is in their culture. And they do that through some of their night activities. They'll have both traditional and more so, more modern kind of kava drinking experiences. And I think, Taryn, you probably could say this or explain this one a little bit better than I can because you really love the kava, got some kava to bring home. So why don't you chat about that?
I mean, who's drinking the kava? Just me. It's one of the most authentic representations of local traditions that I think I've seen anywhere that I've been in my life. And I get it. I haven't been everywhere yet on the list. However, it felt very authentic and, natural that this is who we are. And they made the tradition part of the experience. I think that made it more special because you felt like family. You felt like you were part of the tradition. They welcome you into the tradition. And I have to say, not every country does that, right? Like, not every country is like, hey, we want to welcome you and make you feel like you're one of us. I'd argue a lot of countries are the complete opposite. They're like, we want your money, but we don't really care if you get to know us at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Because basically what in the Fijian culture, as I best understand it, basically kind of going home and drinking kava, and there's a whole kind of procedure to what you do, what you say, as you do it, but that's basically a nightly affair. So while some people, like in the States, you might be used to coming home, maybe sitting down, drinking a glass of wine, there they drink kava.
So, kava is very ceremonial, and to your point, it is so integral to the community and to the family. However, from a foodie standpoint, it is very much like a root vegetable. Think of it as a very earthy, spirited kind of thing that you're going to mix. It's not even like a tea. It's not even hot water. It's just cold water with this beautiful root of the kava that is ground into a different kind of bags. You can use a nut milk bag. You can use any other kind of straining thing that you would use in the kitchen. And I am still partaking after coming back. It's one of the things I'm holding on to. But it is really like their happy hour. We're done with work. Kava time. And kava time was like one of my favorite times when we were there. And it wasn't about the flavor, it was about the feeling. It was about feeling part of the community. It was about being part of it. And I also actually really did enjoy it. And that's why I'm still drinking it. But I mean, for me, I think the biggest part of it that was so cool was how much it made you feel welcome in a way. I thought that was really special. I mean, what do you think, DeAndre?
Yeah, I would agree, because it's so ceremonial the way they do it and how they have, a whole process to, say something before you accept it. And then after you drink it, what you have to say. But what they do is they open that up for all the guests. So they've got a couple of individuals that are there singing, kind of playing different instruments. And then after each song ends, boom, it's kava time. So those that want to partake they kind of do the whole round again. And then they start singing. And it's like, this is what they do in their homes. And they'll do this until 1, 2, 3 in the morning because it's just such a part of their livelihood and their lifestyle. And the fact that they allow us to be a part of that is what's super unique. And that permeates through all parts of Fijian culture in ways that, as you said, Taryn, we don't really experience in other places. A great example is in the Maldives. We've gone to the Maldives multiple times, had incredible luxury, incredible service, all these different things, but you don't ever get to feel like you connect with the Maldivian culture as you're doing it. And this is something that, as you said, is very unique to really, I think, almost any country that we've been to this level or to this degree.
I think especially because the staff was all Fijian. Almost every single person on the staff, from the highest level, down to the bottom, down to the every aspect, they were Fijian, and they try to bring that with them. And that's why it's very bula, happy, good to see you, happy. So, I mean, when I hear bula, I get happy. Even in this tundra that we're in right now, it makes me very happy to hear. But, I think that that's something that's really special about Fiji, is that they really have held on to their, not only have they held on to their own beliefs, but they have entwined it into the experience of the people who are tourists. And I think it's really special. And I think I've seen other countries try to do something similar, but it hasn't landed because it hasn't felt authentic. It's felt a little forced. And maybe the people who worked at that place weren't from that place, which also doesn't help. So that was why I go back to my first statement of Namale is almost all Fijian people. And that's why that authenticity comes through. I mean, how many times did we meet people who were cousins or siblings who worked there? At the bar, at the spa. I mean, it is very much a tight-knit community, and you can feel that. And not that it's not allowed to be anyone else, but just that it's very magical of what they already have, and they're like ingraining that into everything they do.
Absolutely agree with you there, Taryn. Before we start to wrap this up, we have to talk about one of their biggest events that happened while we were there, which was their New Year's celebration. And they really did it. It was an absolute amazing kind of way they put everything together. So Namale itself has kind of its main restaurant. So that's the restaurant you're going to go to. It has the bar, all of that. But they have a secondary restaurant that they usually use for their different events, gatherings, maybe if they're going to put on a show. And that restaurant is where they had dinner and a show for us for New Year's. And the buffet spread there was absolutely incredible.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen a buffet like that in my entire life. I mean, we had raw oysters on the half shell. We had lobster thermidor being flamed in front of you. We had a cheese wheel for risotto in Parmesan, whichever kind you wanted. Like the amount of options, and honestly, like when you hear buffet, you think, but this buffet was exceptional.
And along with that, I mean, the show they did was their actual staff that came in and performed for us their traditional dances. They had fire spinners. I mean, it was really, again, kind of a close-knit experience because, again, the resort's not that big. So there was, at most, I think, only 28 couples in total, and that's maybe if everyone actually had showed up for that specific moment. And there was more staff there between the food preparers and the dancers and everything else than there were guests in that moment. But again, you really got to connect with them before moving on to where the actual New Year's party was, which is where we basically did it DJ and kava style.
Yes. But geographically, it is quite large. It is just more about that there were not as many of us. I just want to clarify that because I feel like Namale as a property is actually quite big. It's just that they don't take on too many guests. And that's why I think they can maintain that special experience for everybody who's there because there's not too many people. They could take more people. They could build up. They could do that. But I think that it would ruin what's so special about Namale because it really is about that special extra-ness of feeling like a princess. And I know I've said it, but I don't think that there's anywhere I felt, and I wanted to feel like that for our honeymoon. You know that. And lots of places gave us a, bottle of champagne or a little note. This is the only place I feel like we were celebrated in our honeymoon, of the entire honeymoon.
I would agree. And really with that, the New Year's celebration, talking about celebration, the New Year's celebration was a party. It was fun. There was a DJ. The staff was there. They were dancing. They were mixing more and more kava as they were dancing. So it was actually, if you think about it, because kava is a lot of water it goes into making it, every time we would have a drink from the bar, they were bringing us a cup of kava, which is usually in like a coconut shell. All right, so we got our fill of kava while drinking at the bar, while dancing. They had fireworks that they fired right off the ground there. And overall, it was just an incredible New Year's experience and very, very different from when we experienced New Year's in the Maldives or Mexico City or other countries.
Or Dubai.
Or even Dubai, correct, in front of the Burj Khalifa, because it was really the intimate experience. But, we walked away feeling like we were partying kind of with family in that environment.
I honestly feel like it's probably my favorite New Year's that we've actually ever had. And it's not just because it was our honeymoon. And it's not because we were already deciding that we wanted to be with this resort. I just felt like it was a really special night. I felt very comfortable with not just the staff, but the vibe. Everything came together and it made it like a really special experience. And they had spectacular fireworks too, but it wasn't about the fireworks for me. It was about the connection. And I feel like that's something that nobody can duplicate, even if they want to. I don't think that's something that can be duplicated.
So, Taryn, before we wrap this up, let's talk about who we think this resort is perfect for and who might it not be for as well. Because while it is an amazing experience, there may be some people that this isn't their speed. So who do you think this resort is prime candidates for?
Anybody who wants to be pampered. I don't even think it needs to be a honeymoon, anniversary, special experience. Originally, I would have told you that. But right now, after being there, I am telling you, especially because there's a lot of people who are repeat coming back because they love it so much. It's not just for that. This is for people who want to feel pampered, who want privacy, who want luxury, who want to feel that luxuriousness as well as enjoy the most incredible nature. You have incredible reef pools. We haven't gotten into that conversation too much in this one. And I could do a whole episode just talking about what I like in reef pools. But I would say that, there's so much extra things here that I really didn't even expect and were such amazing surprises.
And on the flip side, I would say for anyone that is looking to be in a more of that big resort energy, you're wanting to party, you're wanting the fanfare constantly, this is not that kind of place. This is going to be a very, very different opposite kind of feeling from that. And that's okay if that's what you're going for as well. And of course, if you are traveling with children, this is adults only. So that's kind of automatically going to have to make a pivot there, of course. But yes, if you're, as Taryn said, looking for that pampered experience, the quiet luxury, the spa, those type of things, absolutely a place to stay. Also know that while, again, this is luxury, you're still in the jungle, so it's still nature. You're still going to be spraying bug spray and all of those different things, but it's still in an incredible Fijian environment with incredible Fijian weather, sun, all the different things. It was a fantastic experience. So, Taryn, as we wrap this one up, if Fiji is on someone's list, where does Namale fit in?
I mean, Namale is there if you want something without children, obviously, and without worrying about having to pay for each individual thing. You want to know everything is taken care of, and literally it is. We didn't talk about this yet, but even with tipping, there is no tipping until the end. So you are literally on vacation this whole time. You are not worried about that. You are keeping track of who are your favorites. I have my favorites. I know you have your favorites too. And there are people that stand out, and it is the culture. It's not because of the tip. It's a communal tip. It all goes actually back into their own healthcare, which is one of the most, I think, incredible things I've seen, because a lot of places will say, hey, you can tip at the end, and then they just split it. This was going to specific things that are going to benefit the entire staff, all of the staff. So I feel like it's a very much collective sort of community. And I think that's why everyone is just, it's not the only reason why everyone's so spectacular, but I think it's one of the reasons why culturally it's more, I guess, normal, that it's not about them ever, but they always make it about you. And if you want to feel like you are doing something really special and in a place without children and that you don't have to worry about your wallet until the end, I think this is the perfect place to be. And honestly, I can't wait to go back.
I don't think there's a better way to wrap this one up than that. So Namale, as you said, fantastic. Cannot wait to go back, and really was a true 10 out of 10 experience.
Can we give it like a higher number? Because I would like to. I don't know. I know it's supposed to be out of 10, but I would like to give it like a 30 if I can out of 10.
You heard it from Taryn. It was a 30 out of 10 experience.
I just felt like they exceeded everything, every food, every fruit, every drink, everything. The pick up and drop off from your door with the golf carts, like everything you could imagine once you get on property is taken care of. And I don't think we've been to a lot of places that you can actually say that everything that you can think of is taken care of.
I would agree. With that, if you feel like this podcast was a 10 out of 10, or in Taryn's case, a 30 out of 10 experience, well, then be sure to follow us on all the social media channels, sign up for our newsletter, our private Facebook group, our WhatsApp community chat, do all of the things. Make sure to tell a friend, and make sure to tell someone about Namale so that it can be on their list. I know it's going to be on yours as well. You will have an incredible experience when you go, and it will completely change the way that you see any other resort stay, basically forever after you go there. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and as always, we will catch you on the next episode.